Continuing to follow the breaking news out of San Francisco, where the 49ers have traded Trey Lance for a 2024 fourth-round pick, sending him to the Dallas Cowboys to back up Dak Prescott. Former third overall pick was relegated to third-string quarterback in San Francisco on Wednesday. Had not made enough progress for them. Brock Purdy, the starter in San Francisco, coming back from the elbow injury. Sam Darnold will back him up, and Trey Lance will now back up Dak Prescott in Dallas. And for more, let's welcome in CBS Sports lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones. Jonathan, Trey Lance headed to Dallas. What more can you tell us about the deal?
Yeah, well, obviously not surprising that Trey Lance is not going to be playing in San Francisco anymore. Obviously, he took the news of his QB3 very hard the other day. And a little interesting that he wasn't going to take the field tonight against the Los Angeles Chargers. But when it is a fait accompli that he is not going to be playing in 2023 for your squad, when you put him out there on the trade market, you try to get whatever taker you can. And frankly, I'm a little surprised by the trade compensation. I'm talking with league executives throughout the NFL this past week. It seemed like the best the Niners were going to get, a sixth-round pick, maybe a fifth, if we got into some sort of auction. So a fourth-round pick for Trey Lance, a little bit higher than I think folks were anticipating before this. Not at all a surprise that he's no longer in San Francisco, and now it kind of clears the deck. They're able to clean and cleanse their palate in San Francisco. We know it's going to be Brock Purdy. Sam Darnold has earned QB2. Brandon Allen has earned QB3, so you're not going to see him cut or placed on the practice squad. I would anticipate, certainly based off of last season and how the NFC title game ended for the Niners, that they are going to keep all three of those quarterbacks on the 53-man roster when we get to roster cutdowns at 4 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. And so Trey Lance starting anew in Dallas.
So what does this mean for Dak Prescott, who unfortunately got injured in week 1 last season? Cooper Rush came in and led them to a nice record, 4-1. What does this mean for Dak Prescott now having a former third overall pick behind him?
Well, Dak Prescott is unquestionably the leader of the Dallas Cowboys. He's unquestionably the starting quarterback, the leader of the offense, the leader of the team. It sort of kind of builds out from there. And so Dak Prescott does not have to worry about his job whatsoever. The only interesting part about this, and I was texting with an agent earlier tonight right after the news broke, is that Dak Prescott's up for a contract extension. Remember, in March of 2021, he signed a 4-year, $160 million contract. And so now he's played 2021, 2022. He's going into 2023. We see, of course, the injuries he has dealt with. And so if Dak does not play up to the level that we have been accustomed to seeing him play at, if he plays somewhere close to the level that he played last year, where he tied for the NFL lead in interceptions by also missing a few games, then the Cowboys may own a little leverage. And that is not at all to say, and this is very important, that is not at all to say that it's going to be Dak Prescott or Trey Lance in Dallas in 2024 or whenever it is. That's not what this is about. It's about holding a little contract leverage for the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to those gigantic numbers, right? So we just know that, and just saw that Justin Herbert is now the highest paid quarterback and player in NFL history at $52.5 million per year in average annual value. Joe Burrow is going to break that, and probably break that by $1 million or $2 million in average annual value. Patrick Mahomes could redo his deal at some point and break that. And so the top of the market is going to be somewhere in the mid-50s by the time this is all said and done. Dak Prescott, by the time he's up for a contract extension, probably after this season, is going to be looking for top of the market value if his play has dictated it. But if his play has not, then the Dallas Cowboys are going to be able to say, look, 2 years ago, we went 4-1 without you with Cooper Rush. And then this past season, we went out and got Trey Lance for a fourth-round pick. And maybe he came in and played pretty well. Maybe we've liked him a little bit. So maybe that number comes down. That is what the leverage could be from the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, if they're thinking about this right now, that is not the primary concern for them. Oh, let's pay Dak less money once we have to pay him more than $200 million. That's not what it is. This is about making their team as strong as they possibly can. Does Trey Lance have better traits than Cooper Rush or Will Grier? There's no question about it. Is he going to have to spend a whole lot of time in Mike McCarthy's offense in order to even sniff the field for the Dallas Cowboys? Absolutely. This does not mean that Trey Lance, even if Dak Prescott, God forbid, goes down anytime soon, Trey Lance is not going to be seeing the field for the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to have to learn that offense for some time, and it will be Cooper Rush's show as QB2 like it was last year. But this is with an eye on the future because we've heard from many teams, they're in the business of being quarterback factories. That's the one thing you can't be without, and the Dallas Cowboys refuse to be without a quarterback.
Well, Dak Prescott, as you noted there, has missed 5 or more games in 2 of the last 3 seasons, so certainly a concern with his injury status. Now, a lot of the blame here, Jonathan, falls on San Francisco and their evaluation process. That's up for judgment, certainly, with giving 3 first-round picks up for Trey Lance. They only got 2 wins with Trey Lance. What's the feeling now out of San Francisco? Do you label this already as a bust?
Well, certainly Trey Lance was a bust for San Francisco.
Yes.
He doesn't have to be a bust in his NFL career, right? But where he was drafted and the success or lack thereof that he had in San Francisco, there's no doubt about it. I know that people may cringe at that term, but that's the way it is. When you give up what they did, 3 first-round picks, of course, they sort of swapped one of those picks, and so one could argue it was 2 first-round picks and a pick swap in order to get Trey Lance. Yeah, that guy, when you make that trade in 2021, in the spring of 2021, you are anticipating that he's going to make some Pro Bowls, that he's going to be an MVP candidate, that he's going to get you into the Super Bowl. Obviously, that was not the case through a number of factors and circumstances, but they took a chance on Trey Lance. Remember, of course, he didn't play all that much in college. And then, of course, he didn't play that much in the pros. We all said, much like Anthony Richardson with the Indianapolis Colts, he needs reps, he needs experience. Well, the San Francisco 49ers, built as a team, a championship caliber team, didn't have the opportunity to say, you know what, we're going to go 4-13 this season, so let's go ahead and give the young guys some reps. No, that wasn't the case. I mean, when they went out there and drafted him that year, they were a Jaquiski Tartt dropped interception against the LA Rams away from potentially going to the Super Bowl. Last year, of course, if Brock Purdy doesn't, tear his UCL, maybe they're in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe they win one of those Super Bowls finally. And so we can look at this and say, shame on the 49ers for giving up as much as they did for Trey Lance. They still had a pretty good team, and ultimately they were able to win with a rookie quarterback. That rookie quarterback just happened to be Mr. Irrelevant and not the dude that they traded 3 first-round picks for to draft at number 3 overall. So where do the Niners go from here? Yeah, you have to wear it. And frankly, the Niners have had to wear it since last year when it was clear that Trey was probably not going to turn into the guy. They've had to wear it going back to training camp. Even when I saw them, Hakeem, frankly, when I saw them on the day that Brock Purdy was out, Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen were 1 or 2 out there on the field. Trey Lance was a distant 3rd best quarterback on the field. It was clear. And so they've known this for some time. And so now it's just about getting something back for them. And frankly, getting a 4th-round pick, all things considered, is better than what most expected.
Jonathan Jones with the very latest here on CBS Sports HQ. Trey Lance headed to Dallas to back up Dak Prescott, a 2024 4th-round pick for Trey Lance, as he will try to resuscitate his career in Dallas behind Dak Prescott. Jonathan, thank you. So Trey Lance, 4 starts, 102 pass attempts in 2 career seasons. Suffered the broken ankle in week 2 of last season. Did not return, had successful surgery, was ready to go this year, but clearly did not live up to expectations in San Francisco, did not live up to the hype, drafting him 3rd overall in 2021, and now headed to Dallas. On the other side, primetime scoreboard coming up with Jonathan Coachman, the coach. He'll have a little something to say about this. That's next.